The Barber Vintage Festival, what a place. Hey, it's like a pilgrimage for anyone who appreciates classic motorcycles, a real gathering of the tribes. Every year, enthusiasts and racers flock there, hoping to see, hear, and even smell these magnificent machines from a bygone era. The air buzzes with excitement, the anticipation almost tangible as rare bikes are wheeled out, polished to perfection, and prepared to roar back to life on the track. This particular year, there was a special buzz, a particular head-to-head that had folks talking. It promised to be a proper David versus Goliath, or perhaps Goliath versus Goliath, depending on your allegiance. A real clash of titans from the golden age of motorcycle racing, a spectacle not to be missed by any discerning enthusiast. The main event, the one whispered about in the paddocks and on the forums, was set to feature two incredible pieces of motorcycling history. On one side, you had the formidable Matchless G50, a true British bulldog of a racing bike proudly presented by Team Obsolete. This wasn't just any G50, it was a machine with serious pedigree, and lined up against it none other than Ari Henning's father's Drixton Honda 450, now the Drixton Hondas. There's something else, beautiful frames cradling potent Honda engines. This one had been lovingly reassembled after a week of intense work, ready for a proper dust up. The stage was set for a truly memorable confrontation between British engineering and Japanese ingenuity, a friendly rivalry playing out on the historic curves of Barber. Unfortunately, as any classic vehicle owner will tell you, these old machines, they have a character all their own, and sometimes that character includes a flair for the dramatic at the most inopportune moments. The magnificent Matchless G50, with its recently installed and reportedly quite expensive engine, was all set for its first race of the festival. The rider was ready, the crowd was watching, and then disaster about a mile into its first competitive outing. The G50 suffered a catastrophic engine failure. Titanium valve, a tiny but crucial component, decided it had had enough, breaking and causing a destructive chain reaction within the cylinder head. The beautiful symphony of its single-cylinder engine was abruptly silenced. Replaced by the sickening sound of mechanical distress, the dream race, the one everyone had been looking forward to, was over before it had truly begun. It was a real heartbreaker, not just for the Team Obsolete crew, who had poured so much effort into preparing the G50, but for all the spectators who had gathered to witness this unique piece of racing theater. The Drixton Honda would still race, of course, but its intended dance partner was now out of commission. It's a stark reminder, isn't it? With vintage machinery, especially high-strung racing bikes, you're always riding a fine line between glory and mechanical mayhem. But as we all know, the show must go on, especially at a place as vibrant as the Barber Vintage Festival. And thankfully, there's usually a plan B, or in this case, a bike B. Now let's talk about this Matchless G50, because it's not just any old motorcycle. It's a piece of bona fide racing royalty, a machine that really made its mark. The G50 was born in 1958, a time when British bikes ruled the roost on racetracks. Around the world, it was developed by Associated Motorcycles, the parent company of Matchless and AJS, as a serious contender for the 500cc Grand Prix class, the premier category of racing back then. It was an evolution, a big brother to another famous machine, the AJS-7R, often known as the Boy Racer. The thinking was pretty straightforward. If the 350cc 7R was good, then a bigger, more powerful version for the 500cc class would be even better, and they weren't wrong, were they? The development was quite clever, really. AMC essentially took the well-proven AJ7R engine with its overhead camshaft design and bored it out to achieve the larger 496 cc capacity needed for the G50. This meant it shared many design characteristics with its smaller sibling, but it packed a significantly bigger punch. The G50 quickly established itself as a favorite amongst privateer racers. It was relatively affordable, robust usually, and capable of holding its own against much more exotic and expensive machinery from Italian and German manufacturers. It was a bike that gave the little guy a fighting chance, a true workhorse of the racing world that earned respect through sheer performance and grit on circuits far and wide. This particular Matchless G50, the one from Team Obsolete, has an even more special claim to fame. It's not just a G50. It's the G50 that achieved a historic victory at the Isle of Man TT in 1984 with the incredibly skilled Dave Roper in the saddle. This very motorcycle won the senior historic TT race. Think about that. The Isle of Man TT, the most challenging road race in the world, and this bike conquered it. That victory cemented its place in motorcycling folklore and added another glorious chapter to the G50's already impressive legacy. It's one thing to own a classic, but to own one with such a direct, tangible link to TT glory, that's something truly special. A real connection to the heroes of the sport. What made the G50 so good? You ask, well, it was a combination of factors. The engine, while a traditional single-cylinder design, was potent for its time, delivering strong, usable power. But perhaps more importantly, it was renowned for its excellent handling. The frame, often a featherbed-style duplex cradle, provided a stable and predictable platform, allowing riders to really push the limits through the corners. It was a proper rider's machine, demanding skill and commitment, but rewarding the pilot with a truly engaging experience. Even today, when well prepared, the G50 can show much more modern machinery, a thing or two about how to get around a racetrack efficiently, and with a whole lot of style, making it a perennial favorite at vintage events. So with the magnificent Matchless G50 sadly sidelined with its engine woes, the team wasn't about to pack up and go home. No, that's not the spirit of vintage racing. Team Obsolete, resourceful as ever, had a backup plan, a rather special one at that. The rider was promptly offered another machine from their incredible stable, an AJS7R, but not just any AJS7R. This was a bike known affectionately as Lightweight One, a machine with its own unique story and a very special connection to a true legend of American motorcycle racing and engineering, the one and only Dick Mann. This wasn't just a spare bike, it was another piece of rolling history, ready for its moment. The most distinctive feature of Lightweight One is undoubtedly its custom-made steel tube frame crafted by Dick Mann himself approximately 40 years ago. Now, Dick Mann, he wasn't just a phenomenally successful racer, he was also a brilliant engineer and fabricator. He knew precisely what it took to make a motorcycle handle, and he applied his considerable talents to this AJS7R. He built this frame with a steeper steering head angle than the standard 7R, a modification aimed at sharpening the bike's turning characteristics, making it more agile and responsive on the track. When a name like Dick Mann is attached to a frame, you know it's going to be something special, built with purpose and expertise. While the frame was a bespoke creation, many other parts of Lightweight One were more traditional. 7R components, keeping a strong link to its AJS heritage, featured a largely standard 7R swing arm, fork seat, and the iconic AJS petrol tank. However, there were some well-chosen upgrades to enhance its performance. On the circuit, it was fitted with Works performance shock absorbers to improve the rear suspension's capabilities, and an original 210mm Fontana front brake, classic Italian drum brake, renowned for its stopping power in period, though stopping power is always a relative term with these vintage machines, isn't it? It's all about managing your entry speed with these old beauties. A different kind of skill under the skin, the 350cc AJS7R engine also had a few enhancements to give it a bit more pep, while maintaining its standard bore and stroke and valve angles. It benefited from a high compression piston for a bit more bang, a custom connecting rod for strength, and a special camshaft profile ground by Al Gunter designed to produce peak horsepower in the low 40s, weighing in at a mere 260 pounds or so with a wheelbase just over 55 inches and a seat height of about 29.5 inches. Lightweight One was clearly built to be nimble and flickable, a proper tool for carving through the corners. At Barber Motorsports Park Even if its brakes were described as, shall we say, terrible by modern standards, behind these incredible machines, and the effort to keep them thundering around racetracks, is often a dedicated individual or team in the case of the Matchless G50 and the AJS7R Lightweight 1. That driving force is Rob Iannucci and his renowned team Obsolete. Rob has been passionately involved in preserving and racing vintage motorcycles since way back in 1978. His mission isn't just about static displays in a museum, it's about keeping these bikes alive, breathing fire, and competing in a condition that is, as he puts it, honest to their original period. It's a philosophy that resonates deeply with anyone who loves the authentic sights and sounds of classic racing, a real dedication to history in motion. Team Obsolescence Collection, housed in an impressive 8,000 square foot loft in Brooklyn, New York, is the stuff of dreams for any motorcycle aficionado. It's not just a couple of old bikes, it's a treasure trove of racing history. We're talking multi-cylinder MV Augustas, some of which were previously campaigned by the legendary Giacomo Agostini himself. There's at least one Harley-Davidson XRTT, an Ekcal Rayborn machine no less.